Hello and welcome to Behind the Book on Chicago 3 Media. I'm Fern, Ronay.
And I'm Bethany Clark, and we are here with author Kim Strickland, author of Down at the Golden Coin. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you.
And Bethany and I, of course, read the book. We do our homework. And so this is the story of a married mom of three who has lost her job and the washing machine has broken. The washing machine always breaks at the worst time, right? So the washing machine's broken and she is at the laundromat. So the entire book takes place over the course of one morning. And she's at the laundromat and meets, her name is Annie, and she meets Violet, a blue-haired, I just call her a goth girl, right? A blue-haired, tattooed goth girl who can levitate.
Tied with bleach alternatives.
So she's clearly the Messiah. Annie's Messiah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot
of
of
Red Sea.
Yes. There's a lot
It's been done.
It's been done.
It reminds it's been compared to It's a Wonderful Life. There are references in the book to It's a Wonderful Life. So is that your favorite movie?
It is one of my favorites. I love it. Yes. I
And
just love
was
the
that the
message.
inspiration?
No. So you want the inspiration?
Yeah. That would be good.
I think it came in about 2008. I am a pilot, although I am employed. But one disadvantage of being in the airline industry is you get the recession before everybody else does, and you get the recovery after everyone else does.
Okay.
And so we were all pretty worried about whether or not we were going to be able to keep our jobs, and took huge, enormous pay cuts, lost almost all of my retirement. And so I wasn't quite in Annie's boat. I still had a job. I didn't have a husband that was cheating.
Right. I said she was married, but she's unhappily married.
And my three teenagers are wonderful.
Right.
But that was kind of the inspiration because I was just so frustrated. I felt like I had worked really hard for my job and my career, and then only to just watch it, just as it was starting to come together, to have it just all fall completely apart.
Right.
And I was kind of mad at God. And so I would like to talk to God and sit down and have a conversation and be like, all right, what's up? What do I do? How do I? And that was the inspiration. And I literally, like, when I thought about it in bed one night, I had to sit up, and it was kind of that, oh crap moment. Now I've got to go write this book.
Right.
I was in the middle of something else, and it was that,
this needs to be written.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think things just write themselves. They just come out of you, and the idea. And
yeah.
Right. So in a sense, Annie is in a way you, but minus the cheating husband.
in a sense, I'm a married mom of three teenagers, and I live in Chicago, but that's about where it stops.
Okay.
Any good fiction writer knows that you have to load up your characters with obstacles, and I don't have the obstacles that Annie had. Otherwise, if it were really about me, everyone would be asleep by about page 10. It'd be pretty dull.
And what about Violet, the blue-haired punky Messiah? Is she? Did you try to do the complete antithesis of an old gray-haired Clarence?
Yes, I'm so tired of the God character
George
Burns. Thank
right.
you. Yeah, or like there's always like the wise African American person. I learned so much about myself through my children. So I thought I should make it a kid. And then I was thinking, no one's really going to believe this kind of philosophy coming out of an 8-year-old too much. So I decided to make it a teenager-ish 20-year-old.
Because they do think they know everything.
They do. Yes, they do. And just about as, I think we can learn from anybody. I think sometimes our teachers aren't exactly who we expect them to be.
Right, exactly.
And so I wanted to make it kind of a character that someone like Annie would be like,
right.
No, I'm not. You're not.
Who are you? Right. Yeah, it worked.
So what about, can you talk a little bit about Xavier and Xavier's father and the smoking old lady?
I loved her.
The supporting characters, if we could have easily had, Violet and Annie in the laundromat and with the clanky, dryers and washers, and that's it. But you had these other supporting characters. What role did they play in the development of Annie?
I think it was more of just, they're like foils. They just kind of bounce off the idea, someone for Annie to bounce conversation off of, and there wasn't really a whole lot of, I guess initially I did think I was going to do just Annie and Violet in the laundromat, and then all of a sudden those guys came walking in, and so I thought it was just more of, I like the idea of having a kid in there, and then every age group, people that you might meet in the laundromat, and people.
Do you think that the kid might have played a role in, children are always usually pure happiness, if that makes sense? They're untouched. They're pure innocence. So do you think that, he played a role in reminding Annie of what being happy with yourself is?
Sure,
Possibly.
for sure.
Because I kind of saw him. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
That's all like putting words in the author's mouth.
Yeah.
But I kind of saw that maybe he might have played that role because
Yeah.
children, you look at children all the time, you're like, wow, they really enjoy and take in the sights and sounds of everything, and they're happy in itself. They don't have all that extra thing that adults do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bethany's writing the cliff notes.
Well, even to remind her how wonderful it
Don't bring
was.
it too deep.
No. It's that kind of book though. It kind of invites that, like
Yeah.
looking deeper. I've had people
Right, absolutely.
say things to me that I'm like, oh yeah, I meant that.
No, that's what you meant the child to play. That's the way we'll play it.
But I think that part of the reason they're there is because it's such a surreal experience that I think to have like these other normal people show up there kind of makes that balance. Like, this is really happening, or is it really
Right.
happening?
Okay.
Right, yeah, it made it more believable.
Yeah.
That,
To have them there.
Right. they
'cause,
saw
who
her
says
too.
the laundromat would be empty for like 8 hours? On,
Right.
you know,
Right.
weekend? That makes
and that they
sense.
all saw her and interacted with
Right.
her as well.
Right.
So why was it the significance of that environment being in a laundromat? Why a laundromat?
I was trying to figure out where she would meet this person and where they could actually a setting. And I was tired from my first book. My first book had like 5 main characters. What was I thinking? And a long timeline. And
That's
I
the
wanted
Wish
to,
Club, right?
yeah, Wish Club. And I wanted to make it in one day with a small cast of characters, just to kind of be easy on myself. And really, I broke the rule about being as different from my first book as I could. And a laundromat's kind of like a sort of they can be a very down and out kind of place.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And her washing machine breaks. Whose appliance or car doesn't break when you're really at the end of your rope, right?
Exactly.
So,
That's when it
What
always
always
happens,
happens,
right?
right?
so I didn't want to do a car shop, an auto
Right.
shop or whatever. There's too many people around there. That might have worked, but I just like the idea of a laundromat, like the cleansing aspect of it. There's like a lot of, and then as I got into it, there's a lot of metaphor in there.
Yeah,
Like you
right.
got to get the balance right, and like use less detergent for a cleaner
Right.
wash. It's just like there's all this. There was a lot of
Don't forget your softener.
exactly.
And it became the
Exactly.
golden coin, and she produced a gold coin.
Right.
So what was? I mean, I think I'm good at symbolism, but I don't know if I get that.
That was about the money.
Okay,
It was just,
yeah.
I mean, there's always there's the lucky coin wash, and there's all these different laundromats
Okay.
always have like these really funny names. I'm probably sure there's like a Wishy Wash
Yeah.
somewhere.
Right.
So I figured it's very.
Suds and duds. Things like that.
I remember that one. So the fact that it was called the golden coin was not a
And
stretch.
money was her big.
And money was
yeah,
her big.
Okay.
She was worried about
All
money.
right, I
and
get it. I get it. I was
chasing after
disappointed
that
in myself.
Together.
I was
golden
missing
coin.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay.
So, since the setting is a laundromat, you're very descriptive with the sounds of the laundry washers and dryers.
Mm-hmm.
Do those, to me, I felt like, and you can tell me, did those sounds, represent the chaos in Annie's mind? It seems like whenever Violet was trying to, demonstrate a lesson to Annie, like a washer or dryer would clank, and you were like clank and clink, and I was like, I can hear it. And so I was wondering if that's
Yeah.
what she felt like. Maybe did that, represent the imbalance in Annie's
Yeah,
mind?
yeah, for sure. Like that's another thing about writing a good story is you have to get your reader to hear it, see it, smell it, feel it, and that was all part of just getting you in that setting of the laundromat
Right.
with all of it.
I definitely felt like I was there.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. The sounds were very. I could hear them.
Right.
And so I was like, this must be how she feels inside.
Right. I could smell the tide and.
Yeah, like you open the
Down in
dryer
that
and you get that
aspect.
the whiff of the bounce.
Right.
And like,
And then, so there were a lot of, some of these old sayings, money can't buy happiness, and, money isn't everything, we hold the key to our own happiness. Was it hard to, because there were times when Annie would make so much sense to me, and I would be so frustrated with Violet, because I'm like, listen to her, she's making sense. Was it hard to make Annie and the reader believe that those are really true?
Yeah, I mean, because I was so afraid. I mean, to be preachy. I mean, I'm putting words in like this Messiah character's mouth, so that could be a hazard. And I wanted Annie to have that right amount of disbelief, and so that there would be that kind of like the conflict throughout, so that keeps you interested. Because the story with no conflict is not an interesting story at all.
Right.
And yet I've been where Annie's been. Where you're just like, no, I thought I did everything right, and I've tried my, new age, like
Right.
everything, and nothing's working, and and so that part of it is like I was on Annie's side, and then you read the self-help books, and it's like, well, you're coming at it all wrong, you know?
Right.
And so I'm on Violet's side, and so to get that back and forth, I was on both their sides.
Right.
So now if I could only be less of Annie and take more of Violet's advice myself,
Right.
I'll have a happy ending, right?
Did you find it challenging to put a new spin on an old lesson? Let's say, because money can't buy happiness. That's
right.
That's an old lesson. Some people still have yet to learn. But did you find it interesting and challenging to like put the spin? I don't mean to use no pun intended.
But put the spin side.
Put a spin on an old lesson.
Yeah, of course. I think that's any writer's challenge because basically all the themes have been taken. I mean, every story really is already been written, so you're putting your own spin on it on every story that you write. Right. So yeah.
And go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How do you find the time to it? Because you are a mom with 3 kids, a pilot, a husband, a wonderful husband. How do you
have like a secret writing room?
Yeah.
Place where
we have a home office, and I work in there. And although for this book, I did go to a coffee shop around the corner because I found myself being very distracted by the internet and by the refrigerator and the phone and all that stuff. So I would just go and I would just sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm not leaving here until I have 1,000 words or 500 words.
Oh, okay.
And I would do that during the day
when the kids start that process. Is it outlining, freestyle? Do you just whatever comes to your mind, stream of consciousness type thing?
I'm very much a freestyle for the first draft. I've only written 2 novels, so I can't say like with every book I've
That's pretty good.
For the 2 more than us.
For the first 2, I've been very freestyle with the first draft, and no one sees that first draft. And then I go in with the second draft and I start looking at the structure and where it's missing and where there's no character arc and story arc and where things aren't happening and. So yeah, it goes from being very free form to kind of getting more and more structured as I.
So how many words is
along.
the free form one? Is it a full manuscript or?
No, it's a lot less.
Okay.
I would think because this book finished it's like 50. It's short. It's 55,000 words, and I think probably at the end of my first draft it was closer to 40.
Okay.
But then I love editing. I love that second draft because I feel like okay, the story is in there now, and now I just got to go and tease out more here and
too.
editing
That's something
out.
you don't hear every day. I love editing.
I do.
Yeah.
I like after it's already written to go back and to do the cleanup and take it apart and put it back together again after it's already there.
And adding like whole new scenes come in and like and killing my darlings, and I'm like, this is like what's kind of a fun writing exercise, but it's not telling my story, and so getting rid of that and just making it like nice and tight and clean. Yeah.
So do you ever fight writer's block? Do you ever feel like you've come up against a wall and?
Sure.
Then how do you push through it?
You just sit down and you write, and you do that. God, it's so hard, and like sometimes you just do avoid the chair. You're like, I have to go do laundry, or I have to do
else.
this. Yeah. But just force yourself into the chair and write for no one. Write for yourself. Write in a journal. Write. A story that you don't want anyone to see, and then sometimes it turns into something.
Good advice. Thank you so much. We're at the part of our interview, we like to call it our James Lipton moment, where we ask a series of questions. But we do something a little different on Behind the Book. We have questions or word association, and you get to pick out of the Victoria's Secret sale bag.
This is the part where I wish I could blend more into my chair with my I have Victoria's Secret bag. Oh,
Secret's
just
about to be out.
Get an easy one. All right. Okay. I don't have my glasses.
Oh, I'll tell you what it is. Word association.
Word association. Oh, no. Point out my glasses are right there.
So.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
I hope so.
The first thing, just whatever comes to your mind.
Whatever.
The typewriter.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
The Kindle.
Love that too. I own one, yes. I have
50 Shades of Grey.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Never read it.
My children might see this.
I'm still clinging to that too. Harry Potter.
Oh, inspirational. Yeah.
Oprah's Book Club.
Inspirational as well. Wish it was still around.
Yeah.
And the end.
Oh, sad. It's over.
Very good. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And the book, again, is Down at the Golden Coin by Kim Strickland, and it is available on Amazon on your Kindle.
It is available on your Kindle.
It is also available here at the Book Cellar. Thank you to the Book Cellar.
Yes, thank you, Susie.
And where else is it available?
I'm at a few more independent stores in Chicago. It's at the Shocker Shop on North Lincoln. It's at Praha on Lincoln, and August House, Wolf Bait and Bee Girls, and on the Rocks on Clark.
Great, excellent.
Nice.
Well, we
We
can't
highly
wait to see more
recommend. 2
from
thumbs
you.
up from
Thank you.
Bethany and Fern.
Thank you.
This is Behind the Book on Chicago 3 Media. I'm Fern Ronay.
And I'm Bethany Clark.